All right. Welcome, everyone. Chris is in the house. How are you, brother? What's up? What's up, Cosmito? What do you have in your mouth? What is this? What is this? What do you have plastic? Say hello, Cosmo. Cosmo. I love you, boy. Here. Good boy. How are everybody doing? Breezy Brown, Chris, Guru, Fungi Focus. All right. Come on. Wow. Hope everybody's Sunday was lovely. Blessings indeed. Allie, Flyby. Welcome everyone on TikTok. If you want to join on Twitch, just reminding you, come join us on LaserX83 on Twitch. I think yesterday, I forgot to put it on time. Let's see what we had yesterday. Last time we only had 2. Let's try and get more people on Twitch this time. We need 3 minimum, like 20 days or something in a month or something like that. I'm sure we can achieve that. All right. Ebony! Haven't seen you in a while. Or were you here yesterday? Can't recall. Maybe you were here in the beginning. How are you, Diego? Good to see you. Def 001, Charlie's in the house. Very hot. Where's that? Where's here? Sofa King is in the house. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you. Thank you for being with us on Twitch. Boydonic is back. Where can I send you some pictures? I don't have Discord or know how to use it. The best next option would be on lasersimulationx@gmail.com. lasersimulationx@gmail.com. There you go. And our beloved website is... Why is it taking so long? codeofreality.com. Just to codeofreality.com is our website. Come check it out. Boom. Again, come join on Twitch. LaserX83. Thank you, Terry, for doing both. Have I ever watched the movie Zardos? No, I don't believe I did. Zardos. Looks legit. No, I don't think I've ever watched it. Thought on what happens when we die, reincarnation. Well, I'm pretty sure you just go back to source code and then being recirculated through the system to appear and integrated as a new form. But again, it's not really going to be you. I don't think there's an internal signature that moves through the system simply because there's no internal signature, the one that we believe to have now. Even now, it doesn't take more than a week in a meditation retreat to realize that there is no self. And this thing that you feel yourself to be is actually a very transitory thing. So nothing to hold on to. Some people are having a harder time with this than others, but it is in fact the case. What's up, Brenda? Good to see you. Just going to tell everybody who weren't here yesterday, as part of this new program of that came as a result of some encouragement by some people to have more of lively debates. I think debates are counterproductive, but I am opening the stage for more of a actual dialogue about what people potentially disagree about, and we can explore that. We did a little bit of this yesterday. Anybody who wants to come on and talk about something, it has to be a well articulated point. It can just be kind of like a meandering thing, because that gets very boring very fast, and we want to make sure that people stay interested. Any tips on how to get rid of health anxiety? I fear everything around my health, especially dying. Well, that is a deep question and is way beyond my pay grade. How are you, Lydia? Um, I think there's some, for things like this, I would say that there are frames you can adopt, but the truth is that until you don't experience certain things for yourself in terms of the openness of the higher space, you I don't think there's a real remedy for it until you start recognizing that in fact there's nothing to be afraid of. But just saying it um, is not that helpful, I think, and it requires some doing. I would highly recommend, and I always recommend this to do a Vipassana retreat. I think that can help tremendously, whatever it is, because it helps. It gives you back the reins over your inner state and over your attention. Considering the fact that Vipassana is free and pretty much everywhere in the world, all you got to do is Google the place where you live and the word Vipassana after it, Vipassana, and it will show you the nearest location to you. Sign up, wait a couple of months, go to a retreat, 10 days. All you got to do is allocate 10 days of your life. If you're serious about taking control over your inner state, I would say this is a really good place to start. In the end, there is nothing to be afraid of. Absolutely. Any new developments on the code laser and their connection with quantum realms? Well, I don't know how much you've been following. I guess it's kind of hard to say what you've heard last, but we are currently actively engaged in creating an actual research entity. In the meanwhile, we are doing some tests. We did some brain scans with Stuart Hameroff in San Francisco. That was lovely. And since then, we replicated the experiment a couple of times, including me being in the space for a few hours with the 5, not with NN. And we got some interesting brainwave readings that we're going to be analyzing soon. As for the quantum state, that's going to require a lot more experimental validation, coupled with theoretical frameworks, which we are working on as well. But I wouldn't say that there's big breakthroughs just yet. But thank you so much for the question. That is a very relevant question. And I'm excited to share the movie with you guys when it's ready by the end of the year. We're basically done with most of the shooting. Now it's mostly post-production. But yeah, I would highly recommend you look up Vipassana because it is very beneficial. Thank you so much for everybody joining on Twitch. Again, I'm going to mention it again. If you're on Twitch, if you want to join and help us grow the following there, it's LaserX83 on Twitch. Come join us. Also, we have an incredible community on Discord. You can find it both on YouTube and in the links in the link tree in my TikTok page. Wanda Loves Cakes is in the house. Love seeing you here. I'm glad you're joining us again. And on break. Yes, it is not Enochian language. Okay. I know. These are, if you guys join our Discord, you will see a lot of these ideas already expressed. And you can kind of see the track record of everything that is expressed and not expressed. And most of the best place to share these ideas is on Discord, because that way it gets addressed by many individuals, some that tried the code, some that didn't try the code. But you have a much better chance of exchanging these ideas in a way that actually amounts to real collaboration. New podcast appearance coming up. There was one that I posted only today on Discord, even though it was posted a few, maybe a couple of weeks ago. It's a channel that is not usually specializes in these subjects. It's more about kind of business and inspiration. So the video is not really doing that great, but if you guys want to give it some love, it was a great interview. It was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. One of my favorites, actually. So if you guys want to go check it out on Discord, on the YouTube channel, you can find it. I guess I can find it here as well and just drop it. But that was a great conversation. And there are a few fun podcasts that are coming up very, very soon. One of them is Well, there's a couple, and one of them is going to be on the Sean Kelly podcast. The one we recorded less than a week ago. Here you go. This is the podcast I'm talking about. If you guys want to go and show it some love, give it a thumbs up. It was a really fun conversation. If you know my stuff, then obviously you're going to hear some ideas you've heard before. But the format was great, and there was a pace to the conversation that I really enjoyed. So I think you might enjoy it as well. This is the link. What's up, Brandon? Need to catch my breath. Yes, Kay, I don't know if you heard what I said. Looked it up. It is not the Enochian language. It is no language that we know of, to be clear. But it definitely does not look like Enochian, at least from what we see in the presentations that people did of it. Aha! Legs are okay. What if some people are like living AI nodes, like the Matrix and Windows nodes die after being around non-NPC individuals? The code is recompiled for new NPCs so people can't tell the difference. Well, I think there's no reason to have what people call NPCs. It's either everybody NPCs or nobody's an NPC. Otherwise, it seems to be a completely waste of computational space. Or at least that's my take on it. I think it's ancient rendering from our own DNA. Maybe. Have you done it, Amanda? What's up, everybody on TikTok? Oh man, come on. Wow, TikTok is so annoying sometimes. What's up, Miguel? Bart? Good to see you, Brenda. Does this mean we will lose our individuality? You mean after we merge back? Yeah, but again, if you even in this life, if you do a little bit of a close observation, you'll realize that this individuality you feel you have is a lot less salient and a lot less concrete than you think it is. Thank you, Ebony, for letting everybody know about Twitch. By the way, quick announcement, just so you guys know, if you are not a member, today is a Sunday. We're going to have a members live right after this, which will start in an hour. And if you're not a member, come join our membership program because it is for members only. What we do is we usually dive deeper into particular subjects. We analyze them. We watch videos. We talk about aliens. It's a much more up and close conversation and deep dive, sometimes technical, sometimes we kind of break down certain subjects, philosophical or otherwise. And it's a really fun conversation. If you want to join on Dango Thoughts on YouTube, go to YouTube, DANGO Thoughts, and join the membership program. We also have a Zoom call together with the members coming up. So if you're going to join from the second tier and up for the membership program on YouTube, it includes Zoom calls with me. If you do join that one, make sure you email me also to lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Everything is there. You don't need to remember any of this. And I will send you a link to our next Zoom call. Should be coming up. No, it is not the same code as on 2CBT. Okay. Let's see if I'm missing something. Okay. Nothing of value. So What was the purpose of having to build your own laser? What do you mean, Charlie? You mean why combining the different parts versus just buying a laser pointer? Is that what you mean? There you go. That's a little better. Can't find a Twitch? Well, the only way is to start a new one. What's up, Ankit? Good to have you. I'm trying to read through the comments relatively quickly, capture something we can maybe talk about. What is the... Oh, that's what it is? The Ooga Booga nonsense? Yeah. I already made my comments on that. Unless you have ultra HD 4K 8K image of something that you're claiming to be of alien origin. The gentle way of saying it, get out of here with this. 2025, baby. Unless you have 4K video of something holding it, forget about it. You got it, K. Triumphs Enochian. Wait. Tried some the Enochian, but it's correlated to ancient languages compiled together. Slight Greek reference I've seen. Also a lot of Mayan shapes. Cool. Have you ever spoken to Nassim? No, never spoken to him before. And no, I don't really reach out to people. It's not how I see my role. If something needs to happen, it will happen. But I don't usually reach out to people. What do you think your prediction of 2025 and that it is also the Chinese year of the snake? That's a good year. Snake is a common symbol used in hyperspace and is used for chemical symbols like the Ouroboros or medical Caduceus. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, definitely feels like a pivotal year, right? Welcome to a new member. Let's see who joined us. Brendan joined us. Welcome, Brendan. And I'm happy that I'll see you in our weekly live. There you go. We have a member that joined Vipassana thanks to the podcast, and Harry, and he really loved it, and he thought it was a very, very beneficial thing for him. Blue Rooster is saying, how close are we to emergence with interdimensional sentient beings? I'm not sure what you mean by emergence in this case, so if you want to clarify, I would absolutely love to answer that. What's up, Aleister? Do you feel there may be any link between the code and Michael Levine's work? Of course, absolutely. Absolutely. Michael Levine, I think, is... Charlie saying in the Eddie Bravo podcast. Charlie, if you can just clarify in one text what you meant, because, if I go from one of your texts to the next, it's kind of hard to follow what was the question. How do we end suffering? Will showing them the core making more or less suffering? I don't know. I think that's a separate question that needs to be answered. I would agree with that. How do we end suffering? We choose not to suffer. Easier said than done, right? So I think it's a window to a new dimension. I think it's a window for the pre-rendering of what our space appears to us. Awesome, Brendan. By the way, Ebony, if we can ask on Discord if people want to suggest topics to discuss in the weekly live, that would be great. Thank you for the likes, guys. I appreciate you. By the way, then, similarly to Chris Bledsoe, I can summon UFOs at will, although sometimes it can take more time than other times. Do you want to probably think about something we can try to experiment with? Absolutely. Please contact us through Discord and we'll start this conversation. We'll figure it out. Gotten worse with humidity. Oh, right. Oh, you're talking to Guru. Okay. Why? Where are you, Guru? In Florida? Imagine when we unalive, we all wake up in bed. Maybe. All right. Boom. Thank you for the likes, guys. I appreciate you. Where are you then? Experiment's going well, Guru. Thank you for asking. We shot a bunch of it for the film. Charlie's saying, does listening to waterfalls cause your thoughts to rhyme on the spirit molecule? Terence McKenna said it does. Can you send me that clip? I've never heard him say that. That sounds interesting. I've seen the orbs 3 times, summoned them once. Whatever that is, it's very real. Yes, it is. New England. Well, you know how they say New England is the Florida of Canada. Made a post for topics. Thank you so much, Ebony. I appreciate you. Have I watched Interstellar? Yes. Wonderful film. I love it. Alien riding like a string, going up and moving attached to all objects after hard something. Thank you for sharing, Brooks. What's up, Tabitha? It is a great film. There's no question about that. Let me see something here. Whoa, this is wild. Okay, hold on. How do we check this? Beautiful. Jessica saying, I've only seen the orb once, barely, and through the trees, but it was after hearing some uplifting and enlightening harmonica and Indian scales. That sounds very interesting. Don't see orbs in the space, but have experienced the Mantis phenomena before I ever knew anyone else was experiencing it. Thank you for sharing, Brendan. Yeah, I mean, the insectoids in general are very common. People see them all the time. So I would say you're definitely seeing something real. Kay saying, sometimes it's creepy. Maybe I should try it. Pick a clear night. Take some time, pick a large part of the sky, and really kind of honestly want to see them. The intention is important, isn't it? What's up, Weehushay? Yeah, if you guys want to follow on Twitch, again, it's LaserX83 on Twitch. Okay, so are there any topics that people want to raise that we can analyze deeply, even and especially if you disagree about a particular point that I'm making? I think it will be interesting to explore these topics. Thai Baby is saying, I see things, and so far I'm 100%, and you will be very important for discovery in near future. Oh, you're talking about me specifically? Well, I mean, that sounds interesting. You know, I'm not big on predictions, but I guess I appreciate the foresight. Just need to harder and longer. Yeah, I don't know much about UAPs. I wish I would, but this topic is usually a little bit too far out of my wheelhouse. The Evil Icon, how are you? And thank you so much for the gift. Show the fortune for price. Topic: free will. What makes you feel we don't have free will? Come on, Charlie, we went through this. I'm not going to dive into it again very deeply. I said what I had to say, unless you want to come on and present the opposite case in which we can look at the details, and that would be lovely. But I think the best way to do it is if you just come on TikTok, Danny Goller, and jump on and we can discuss it. But people that know this channel, you know what my thoughts on free will is. So if there's a particular thing, I'm good. That you want to raise inside of free will, we can talk about it. But again, I would prefer if somebody else is presenting their position, because that way we can look at exactly how people usually think about that. And it is interesting because it does illuminate different perspectives and different point of view of the same thing. But thank you for the subject, Charlie. I picked harmonica to learn. Jessica is saying, I forgot I saw it generate a green orb from the sound once. Don't know if that is the same orb like the blue UAP, and I saw in the sky after hearing the Indian scales. I mean, that sounds super esoteric to me. Thank you, Drasco, saying, can you talk cause and effect, or it not being real because non-duality means every condition arising at once? Maybe we'll chop on that. Let me see if there's... I can call in to ask a question on TikTok. Yeah, on TikTok, Drasco. If you go on TikTok, it's Danny Goller, and I'm streaming there now, and I can just bring you on. Diego is saying his trips have changed after seeing the code. You want to tell us how? Was watching some rabbit show and saw your piece. No, I don't try. No, I know. I'm sure it was said lovingly, not in any malicious way. I had a trip not long ago. My mind went somewhere, and I experienced my reality from outside perspective. That's interesting. I had a trip. Oh, okay, yeah. So I see it. What do you mean by outside perspective? As in the way you perceive everything was now in third person? Like watching yourself from the outside? Is that what you mean? And that is something that you're not familiar with, Diego? Like the third person thing? It's not that hard to explain. I can imagine that. You basically see yourself in third person. You see yourself as an avatar versus being inside of the avatar, basically. What's the most optimal frequency for inner peace? That's a good question. Just got a wide range oscillator from my uncle. Why is from my uncle sound suspicious in this game? I don't know why. From my grandfather, it would sound, kind of like coming of age tale kind of thing. But the second you say from my uncle, it sounds like, hmm. Once you hit realization like that, it's a breakthrough. Don't know if you go back unless you want to. I don't even think you can go back even if you want to. So yeah, we can talk about cause and effect. That will be an interesting topic. Let me actually just grab a coffee. Wait. Mentioned you mean UAPs probably, right? UAPs. What's up, Dresco? Yeah, you just need to ask for. Let me see if I can send you an invite. You should be able to come on, I think. Oh, I think it has the. I forgot. I think TikTok has that thing that unless you have 1,000 followers, you can't really come on. I think that's the thing. Let's see. Felt as if I was outside the universe, beyond the simulation, and it all made sense, but you can explain it. Well, yeah, you can say that again. That would be hard to explain. Yeah, Drasco, I think unfortunately that is the case with TikTok. I think that's what it is, which is silly. I feel that a low frequency would be more peaceful, like 42 hertz. Of course it is. Mine used to be more spiritual in nature, and now it seems like there's an interference in transmission and different visual landscapes happen. Oh, well, I would love to know more about that, Ebony. What do you mean by interference in the transmission? Like like a disturbance in the field? Anyone experience hyperslap after being shut out and keep going? You mean locked out syndrome, basically? How about subtitle? In is it the universe coded, dreamt, or both? The idea that reality is not physical but informational. Digital physics, quantum code. Okay. Okay, let me address these. Let me just grab a coffee real quick. Oh. What is that noise? Whew. I'm still a little jet lagged from all the traveling. So I need coffee still pretty late in the day, which isn't the best for you, but cheers. Bottoms up. Lovely. What is this? Oh, this is great. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'll find it later. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Coffee here too. Wonderful. Bottoms up. Let's see what Ebony is saying. Oh, I'm not streaming on Instagram, Dasco. Instagram is not great at live, so I'm not really streaming to that. Yeah, I know. Via voice would definitely going to be easier. Ebony is saying could be like field-based conscious programming in the molecule space or awareness in something that wasn't perceived before seeing the code is now visible. I'm not sure which or if either of those are correct. Or maybe the code has calibrated my interfacing while in the space. That's interesting. I'm just gonna read the comments. You say Ryu saying okay. To gauge if you're on the right track or just again abstraction, keeping focus intention. I always wonder if they're listening to me trying at least, or if my intention isn't projected enough. Okay, I think it's I'm a little lost in the comment. That's good to know, Ebony. Actually, that'll be an interesting thing to raise next time we're having the Zoom call. Brooks is saying, like, keep trying like 10 times, then a small amount makes you time glitch, reality broken. I'm not sure what you're saying, reality broken. You mean it's broken for you even after you're not doing the molecule? Is that what you mean? It is for members only, Drasco, for second tier, from the second tier and up. So if you're first tier, then it does not include that, but I think the second tier, when you look at the tiers on YouTube, it says which one's included. So I think it's from the second up, which isn't that much. But if you are second tier and you don't know about the Zoom meeting, you've never been in it, please email me to lasersimulationx@gmail.com, and I will email you a link the second it's ready to go. So let me address some of the stuff that you guys raised with cause and effect. I think cause and effect really is at the core of the discussion of free will, and that's because what is being assumed is that in addition to all the physical events or whatever events unfold in the universe, there's an agent that can cause something to happen completely free of the initial states that gave rise to that conscious state. Now, some people would say it's not completely free, but semi-free, so it has extra degrees of freedom. But I would say that these degrees of freedom are also influenced by all the previous states in the universe. And randomness is not getting you out of the problem, because randomness just means that it's completely out of your control or ability to inspect. So that's not helping. And my position is usually that there is no way to describe a world in which there is no some set of prior conditions that give rise to this next state. Part of it is the perception that there's an agent choosing to do A, B, C, D, and onwards. My claim is that whatever that is, whatever is creating the wiggle, is outside of reality's ability to inspect itself, which is the ultimate blind spot. I think that kind of covers it. Now, if there's a particular thing you guys want to probe back into it, that'll be great. And yeah, it would be easier. It would be easier to do it without. Did I turn it off? Oh, thank goodness. It would be easier to do this with audio. Maybe I can find some way to do this with potentially to do this with Discord, but I don't know if I'm going to try now, because it's kind of like we've never done this before, so it might take us far afield. Let's see. Whoop. How do we go back? What is this? Oh, I see that's what you sent me. So actually, this is a good thing to address now live. The images that you sent me so far, Daft, is it is the things that you're circling in the picture. These are artifacts of how cameras try and perceive the edges of an image, just so you know. It does not necessarily have anything to do with what in fact is there. Rainbow occurs not because it rains as a cause, but because all the conditions raise at once. Temperature, sun position, viewing position, environment conditions for air particles. All right. If you need more information, yeah, I think it shouldn't be that difficult. Let's see. Are you on our Discord, Jesco? Keep saying, question, you must have seen the code many times. Have you ever been able to see it without the molecule? Is it possible to train your mind to see it without the molecule, or where have anyone seen it without? Aware of a few people that claimed to be able to, but I can't really know for sure. That's the short answer. So I don't know what happened. I think it might be overriding the audio. I'm not sure though. Let me see. Also, really love the picture, Guru. Unfortunately, oh yeah, you sent it like on the 20th, so that was a while ago. I was actually traveling that day. That was 2 days ago. Yeah, I mean, the picture you sent me, Guru, that's exactly how you would solder. Yeah. Also, great arrangement, man. Do you guys have any more probing towards the cause and effect as related to free will? Okay, let's see. Drasco, try and call me on Discord. Let's see if we can make this happen. I don't think I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis, but I just want to test it real quick. Real quick. Oh, yeah, I don't really visit it that often. Let's see. That is there. Okay. Let's see. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but let me make sure. Let's see. YouTube, can you guys hear Drasco saying things? Say things?
Hello, 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 hello.
Okay, wait a second.
Hello?
Let them respond. Can you guys hear this when he's speaking?
Hello, hello.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know you can hear it, Evil Icon, because you're on TikTok. Oh, yes, perfect. Amazing. So go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, man. This is well, hopefully this is gonna be better than the text, but okay, so just to kind of set the frame for cause and effect and free will and versus like things arising at once. I guess the example with the rainbow is that either, how people perceive cause and effect is that, something happens. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean that previous conditions have something to do with the next condition. This is a little different. Just the idea, we're using the rainbow as a metaphor, right? Instead of, oh, a rainbow happened because it rained, all of the things had to be in place and to arise at once. All of the conditions had to be there at once simultaneously for that to happen, which is like whatever I wrote, like the temperature, the water particles staying in the air because of the right conditions for the sun to kind of reflect them, the sun being in the right position, the person being there to like all these things have to be happening at once, which is what it started, what things started feeling like to me after like about a year ago I had a non-duality type shift, and I just started feeling like things are just happening versus this story I'm creating in my mind of like, oh, I'm gonna do this and then that's gonna happen. So I mean, I'm just very curious from your experiences and your type of exploration, like how you perceive that, or like what your reality is, because it's really interesting everything you talk about and how you talk about things. It's very similar to what people discuss in quote unquote spiritual non-duality Buddhism type circles. So that's why it's really fascinating to me to kind of get your thoughts on what, yeah, kind of like what your realizations in that area were.
Yeah, good question. I think it has to do with how we define. Hold on, let me close the door. So what is when people say cause and effect? It doesn't mean that there's one thing that happens and then another thing follows it. It means that there's a set of conditions that is present, and then it gives rise to a new state. Which is exactly what you're describing, right? So that is the cause of effect. Another way of thinking about it is that there's a layer of states that give rise to a new layer of possible states. And depending on the exact, because the system is chaotic, and I mean it as a technical term, not chaos in terms of a mess. A system that is chaotic in mathematics means it's impossible to predict its next step, even in principle. And even in principle means even if you run the ultimate computer till the end of time, that computer will not be able to calculate the next step. That's what it means. So it's impossible to predict, even in principle. Okay, that's what chaotic means. So because there's chaotic elements, especially in things like the weather, it is impossible to predict, even in principle, certain accuracies. You have a set of states that gives the possibility of a rainbow to arise, and then depending on the exact conditions, which are unpredictable, the rainbow will arise or will not arise. However, it is also true to say that unless these exact conditions would be in place, the rainbow will not be possible no matter what. That's the difference. So it's still a cause and effect. It's just that the cause causes the possibility of a new state, and that state has the potential to arise, but not the promise to arise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So probability is a big aspect of the system being in place consistent. Like, is probability what we're kind of like influencing then with and if it's okay, I have a follow-up question too that's related. Is probability what we're essentially then influencing with whatever our energy, our thoughts, and so on? And that's kind of when you talk about manifestation or influencing the system, is that
exactly basically so when you're talking about non-dual that you mentioned that you've had, I think that what this is an opening to an understanding of a bigger possibility space that influences what seems to be a lower possibility space, but it does not remove the cause and effect element at all. So you still have cause and effect, just in a higher probability space, and you become aware of it. So all of a sudden it looks like you're including in your model influences from a system that previously you were not including. So you're saying, well, there's this higher mind space that is, in addition to everything that we call physical, is also influencing the space, or maybe primarily influencing the space. But it is still the previous states of the universal mind influencing all the future states of the universal mind. But notice that when people sometimes think, and I don't think you said that, and if you think so, that's cool, but it is kind of like implied in what you're saying as well, because people tend to kind of go into the block universe model. You're familiar, I'm sure, right? So in the block universe model, everything is just kind of exists, past, future, present, and even the future is influencing the past, and it's all just kind of like one block, just kind of sits there. What is not, when people make the move from saying there's no cause and effect because the whole universe just exists as it is with all its previous and future states, what is missed and not mentioned or not taken into account is that maybe the whole possibility space exists, but when an observer, whatever it might be, is moving through the system, they experience momentarily the one trajectory through that infinite space. And that is what you call your world. So even if you're experiencing the non-dual, I would say you're not experiencing the ultimate state of affairs. You're experiencing a larger local neighborhood that includes a thicker stem of the possible worlds. Does that map well with what you're experiencing?
I love how you articulate things. That's why I was excited to hear you talk about it, because from my brain, it's like a great way to explain things. That makes sense for sure.
I think it's exactly what's happening. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is helping the scientific world and the spiritual world communicate to one another, because I don't think they're competing with one another. To anybody who's interested, I highly recommend to look at Stephen Wolfram's work with the recent physics project with hypergraphs, which is the most scientific way, I would say, to articulate exactly what I just said. And it would make sense of all the spiritual components as well, even though in their project they're not thinking about it in that way. I think that a closer bridge between the actual spiritual component to the more physical way of seeing it would be Donald Hoffman. So it's almost like there's gradation, right? You start with Stephen Wolfram in a very technical work, and then, or theoretical work, but it is technical. And then you have Donald Hoffman, who takes it kind of like picks up the baton and moves on with it with something that's a little bit more in the middle, because he also incorporates a lot of ideas from Buddhism, non-dual and things like this. And then you have auxiliary work, like Michael Levine, for example, which in a lab shows that there are these components of higher. I don't know if it's higher. I think it would be the wrong thing here, but it would be a more. There's a layer of bioelectrical signal that we previously didn't consider to be a part of the system, that now he shows that is a part of the system because he can influence it in the lab. So this is more of the applicable. So you have theoretical, middle ground between spiritual and technical, with Donald Hoffman, and Michael Levine working on something more that is technical in a lab, that you can actually show that, hey, here's at least one case where these things work. And then you have people that are kind of like overlaying the whole picture with the deeper philosophical component, like Bernardo Kastrup. Those four, I think, if you listen to any of these conversations, will bring people much closer to the kind of frame that I'm holding. So you have Stephen Wolfram, physics, if you just Google that. Michael Levine, really any conversation you're going to watch with him is going to be great. Donald Hoffman, who doesn't need to be even mentioned because he's trending and everybody knows who he is at this point. And Bernardo Kastrup. Those are the four, I would say, pillars on which the majority of the next revolution in human understanding would happen along those. I'm sure you're familiar with all of them, right?
Yeah, no, super excited to. I mean, clips and pieces mainly, but I haven't dug into books in particular.
I honestly haven't read any of them. It's mostly what I've consumed on YouTube from them and watched like extensive talks with them. I should probably read it, but to be honest, I don't know how much more I'm gonna gain, because I think I understand pretty well their vision. So unless I'm working on something very specific, to me, reading a book now, it's to like address a particular point. But really, I think even watching YouTube is good enough. But hey, if how you consume information is better through books, then you should definitely do that. I think they all wrote books, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
What is your experience with non-dual before we jump off? I would love for you to share.
Yeah, I mean the if I'm gonna summarize in a very quick manner, the moment this is the thing, like that the non-dual kind of like realization seems to be like a happy accident, but I think you can like increase the chances for that accident through various experiences or especially meditation, because that's where you're with yourself. But for me, it was just literally, I mean, I wasn't even meditating. I was literally setting something up in the studio, and then there was this micro moment of like, all of a sudden, like there was no difference between me screwing in whatever like table I was working on and making music. Like all of a sudden it was like this. It wasn't intellectual. It was like just all of a sudden like a physical knowing. It was like a real shift where there was like no distinction between I just felt like I was this awareness behind the eyes. Like I know that's like we imagine those things, but that was like the actual moment where there was kind of that glimpse of no separation. And then that's why like the main three questions I had that ended up happening, which is like all of a sudden I felt like willpower is a total illusion. Like my whole life I've like felt like I had extreme willpower because of like whatever challenges, doing things, creating things, fighting in certain periods and so on. And then this was a moment where it just felt that willpower is just like this story layer in the mind. And this kind of leads to my second question, actually, which, I mean, I don't know if it's too vague or not, but the trippy thing after that experience is that like that realization was basically this feeling that the foundational layer is experiences we have, and then our brains always add a story and the thoughts on top of that experience, and that like really was like true. Again, it wasn't until I mean, I'm intellectualizing it now to describe it, but that's like the closest way I can word it. And then the confusing thing kind of um that's happened, the confusing thing still is sometimes like just how to even perceive my thoughts at this point, because they feel just like literally, just these things that happen kind of like the wind, and it's kind of a little bit tricky, but because there's still an element of like us having ideas and moving towards those ideas, and I still do those things as well, but it's this weird kind of like it's a weird feeling. It's kind of a weird feeling knowing that, or like feeling this kind of, being awareness, but then having this at the same time, having this like conscious agent that I am, and like thoughts in this brain that still makes choices. So it's like I'm not sure how to, and I mean, maybe there is no way to even answer that, if that even makes sense, but I'm just like, that's a weird thing to kind of just be like observing and feeling. If that, I mean, does that make sense? I can describe that in another way if that was too
No,
confusing.
you explained it very well. I think it has to do, I think as long as you're not feeling too much dissonance in your body, it's okay. If you start doing that, the letting go part is the main part. So that's exactly what the Buddha was preparing us for, right? So like the second you start going through these very accelerated processes, which I believe that's, people think the singularity is going to happen in 20 years. I'm saying it's happening right now. We're in it. We are crossing the event horizon, folks. This is not a drill. This is it. This is right now. So the weird thing is that you don't even know that you're going through it, right? And the important thing is to be able to let go. This is why a lot of people are experiencing these, all of a sudden, these eggs, they hatch. People hatch, right? They kind of, they all of a sudden open up to this entire space, and it's the first crack, but then eventually it's going to open even more. A whole shell is going to be shed, like just removed, and you're going to experience even more of it. And at that point, any psychological factor that is trying to hold on to anything will feel like it's being torn to pieces, and that's very painful. And that's exactly the point. We have to be able to let go. So the second we enter the infinite pool, you start, all the content is going to like rush in front of you, and everything you're seeing, social media, all that stuff, this is just a physical representation of this thing that is happening in hyperspace. All the content is all of a sudden accelerating, and you see an expression of that in 3D. So now it's the practice, right? It's combining. It's not letting go of the mind, but transforming it into what it really is, which is the ability to hold larger frames, absorb all of it. But the second that you feel that it starts tearing you apart, letting go, let go, let go, let go, let go, let it get to the next stable place. And if we have to frame it in some way that is more, technical, just to kind of hold a frame, I would say it's the jumping between the local dream to the universal experience. Local experience to more universal experience, and then it's going to be a more universal experience and more universal experience. The ability to abstract is a type of a practice inside of even a limited mind that we have, what it's like to jump to these levels. Essentially, hold on, I got to do this thing. Essentially, when you move from just saying 2 apples, 3 apples, or from saying 2 apples plus 1 apple, to moving to saying just 2 plus 1 as pure abstraction, that's a practice that your mind is undergoing, what it's like to consider the universal thing, which is just the concept of 2 plus 1, which isn't the same as 2 objects plus 1 object. Those are 2 different things. This is actually what I think is broken with Terrence Howard's brain, to be quite honest. I don't think he can abstract. That's the problem. So now there's the second you start entering the real, what you said, like all of a sudden it moved from concepts to the real thing in your body. Well, now the real thing entered the picture, and you have to allow yourself to write it. And the second we start doing that, the ability to let go immediately and then grab onto whatever is important when it's important is the muscle. That's the muscle. Let go, grab, let go, grab, let go, grab. That's how you navigate the whole thing. So you only grab when it's important to do something, if it's important to do something. But the second it starts feeling like it's tearing you apart, let go, let go, let go of it. and then just keep going to whatever. And there might be a period where it just needs you to let go fully, like just let go. Don't touch anything. Just go like this. Just go through the slide, so to speak. That slide is going up somewhere, and I think that's really the transition. That's literally what you experienced. More and more people experience, and they have their own ideas, which is funny because actually this is the grabby part. People think that the second they start entering this picture, they have ideas that they've heard somewhere that they think they're novel ideas, but what it really is that they have the experience, and then they, without even realizing it, they're slapping a story on top of it. We're ascending. We're ascending to 5D. We're this. We're from this planet. It's like, you don't know this. Let it go. That's you don't know any of this. Like, just go. Like, don't stop attaching stories to it.
It's fascinating you said that, because it's crazy to me. Like, I've listened and know some people that have had these higher level realizations, and it's literally what you said. They got so attached to creating a story around it that they kind of made a full loop back with complexity and stories, and they're totally out of that. They totally like almost negated the realization. It's wild. But I think you worded that so well. It's amazing. I totally forgot what my other thing was. Oh, I guess like when you talk about letting go specifically, you mean, well, I don't know what you mean, but I would imagine that's basically shifting your awareness to the present thing versus being in the story, right?
There's a few ways to do this. As long as you have a body, you can actually just put attention on your body. So this is very easy to see. Well, it's hard to let go, but it's easy to see when you're attached to propositions. So the second that you're emotionally charged about a political topic, about something in your personal life that somebody claims about, the second you have this reaction that you can't control, if you can't control the going back to your body without feeling the feeling, you are a hostage of that feeling. If somebody says something that you believe is not true, and you have an impossible to stop penetrating energy to negate the proposition, you say, no, that's not true. Like, you have to do it. There's like a thing in your chest. You are a hostage of that thought. Because it grabs you. Like, you can't let go of it. You can't, even if you try, right? So now that's the practice. That's what you actually practice to do when you meditate. You practice letting go of that. Even if, by the way, it can maybe even be mapping onto something that it in fact is true in our layer. That's not the point. The point is, even if it's true, you need to be able to let go of needing to talk about it.
Yeah.
If you can't, you're a hostage of it. And this is something to practice, basically.
How does the system, and this is the last thing I'm just so excited to ask you, how like there seems to be something very real about true letting go, meaning like surrendering to exactly what's happening. Let's just describe it that way. And it seems there's something, at least in my experience and based on so many stories, there's something really real to that, creating some type of effect that wasn't there before. Is there a way you can, and I'm sorry if I'm sure somebody asked this before, but can you?
No, I actually don't fully understand your question. If you can maybe ask it again.
Yeah. I mean, this idea of letting go and surrendering, just when people talk about it in their life, when they have certain difficulties and situations and they kind of like, quote unquote, let go and surrender, there seems to be like an effect that creates, like, in this quote unquote system where like something happens. It's not just like this local internal giving up. It seems that it seems like there's a positive effect to it when a person surrenders to exactly what's happening.
If it overpowers your ability to hold it, it will create the effect that you're letting go of it haphazardly. So if it's a life or death or something very, very profound, something that is very powerful, and for the most part, pain is very powerful. So for a lot of people, they have to experience tremendous amount of pain to let go, because they can't hold on anymore. The amount of pain holding on is now overpowering your ability to hold on. That's basically what happens. But it is not true that you have to go through that. The meditative practice is exactly the gentle practice of how to let go without needing to feel the pain. So you start with something simple, because you say, well, how do you move your hand if you've never moved your hand before? Your brain needs to find the hand and needs to map this motion. There's a lot of things that you need to practice, right? If you've never done this before, this is a given to us. But if you do this right in front of you right now, and you ask how I'm doing this, the truth is that you have no idea. You don't know how this happens. with no clue.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I'm just wishing it to be, but are you the neurons doing the thing? Are you every step of the way, you deciding again to keep moving it? I just kind of will it to be. It just happens, right? So in the same way, because this is integrated, you don't really think about it. But if you've never done something before, in order to understand how you're doing it, the only way is to try in all kinds of ways until it clicks and you go, okay. So in
Yeah.
Vipassana, for example, one of the ways you practice is first you pay attention to your breath, which is anybody can understand. The breath is a really good object because it's both involuntary and voluntary if you choose it to be, which is interesting, right? So then you basically start by paying attention to the breath, but not controlling the breath. There's other forms of meditation in which you need to control your breath. In this case, you're not controlling it, you're just paying attention to what it is. If it's deep, you pay attention to the way it's deep. If it's shallow, you're paying attention to the way it's shallow. Don't change it, right? And then all you do is you pay attention with more and more and more accuracy how it actually feels like when you're just breathing through your nose. So just the way the air comes in. Is it one nostril, two nostrils? Is it warm? Is it cold? You're just paying attention to all kinds of things. The second thing to pay attention to is how easily you forget you were supposed to be doing it. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a daydream for like 5 minutes to 30 minutes. And then you snap back. You're like, oh my God, I was supposed to be practicing. Okay, now your practice is not to get upset with yourself. Go back, pay attention to the breath again. And you keep doing this. You keep doing this. Eventually, when you get decent at it and you can hold your attention for maybe 20 or 30 seconds, which takes days to do, by the way. So anybody who thinks they can do this for a minute, you can't. That means you're thinking so much you don't even realize you're thinking. There's no way you can do this. So it takes about 2 to 3 days to achieve 20 to 30 seconds of being able to hold your attention on your breath without being lost in thought. Then you use these 20 seconds as a little crack. Then you start scanning your body gently. And by scanning your body with your attention, and you're going part by part, you're literally going every single piece of your body, and you go slowly, you lose track again, you go back to it, go back to the head, do it again, do it again, do it again. Eventually, when you do this enough for days and days and days and days, hours every day, something starts happening, which is equivalent to just moving your hand, which is like all of a sudden you can just, no matter what thoughts come, you can just stay, put attention in your hand, put attention. You can overpower the power of the thought, and then you can just kind of be with it. This is where the growth actually starts happening. And then when you practice this for years, that is really equivalent to kind of having like a superpower. You basically enter a state in which you choose to engage or not engage with things, no matter how strong they are, just as easily as moving your hand. That's essentially what you're developing. And then you can choose to not suffer, because suffering comes from the attachment to the thing, not from the thing. And that's essentially what the practice is. So it has to start with small things, and then slowly you build the ability to do the big things. But you're right. If somebody all of a sudden experiencing tremendous loss or a crazy accident or tremendous amounts of pain that they experience physically or mentally, that can very often cause people to also just let go, because you can't handle it. So there's two ways. Which one do most people want to experience it? I would say practicing is always good.
Yeah. The other version of that practice that's maybe not exactly the same, because meditation is very specific, is just during your regular, daily life to observe how automatic certain things are, just to like just to be kind of consciously aware of, oh, look, automatically, like even the words I'm saying right now are just they're not planned, right? They're just coming out of my mouth. On the next word, it's like there's no plan for it. It's just happening automatically, and paying attention to that throughout the day, of how much of that happens, like when you move, when you get up, when whatever happens. That's kind of a similar fun alternate version of the practice, because you're still training yourself, whatever that is, that it's not the thought, and it's not what the brain is doing. So you can have that, you can build that detachment from from being attached to your like thoughts and emotions essentially over time, like that.
Basically, yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
Cool. Thanks a lot, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. That was great. All the members, by the way, I just want to tell you, I just moved the meeting by 15 minutes forward. That was wonderful. I have to take a little bit of a reset, 15 minutes. It was supposed to be before, but I love this conversation, so I'm glad you came on and we spoke about it. If you're not a member, if you want to jump on this members live in 15 minutes from now, come join the membership program and join us. We will be discussing some topics much more deeply than we usually do here. And I can give a lot more personal attention to many more people. So yeah, come and do that. If you want to follow me across other platforms, it will be Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram. It will be Goller Danny on X. Just swap them. It will be LaserX83 on Twitch and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts on YouTube. And this is where you can join the membership program, which, by the way, if you join from the second tier and up, it also includes Zoom calls with me. And we have one coming on, I think, this upcoming week. And if you are joining second tier and up, please email me to lasersimulationx@gmail.com, lasersimulationx@gmail.com, and let me know that you've, I like this. This is so lovely. Thank you so much, Icon. And email me that you second tier and up membership, and I will send you an invite for the Zoom call. Chris, thank you so much. Chris just gifted 5 memberships on YouTube. I appreciate you, brother. Awesome. It's still a cyber, and we're actually jumping off, but you can join us on YouTube on Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts, for the members live if you join. If not, then I'll be here again tomorrow for the regular live. I appreciate everybody who are joining. Thank you so much for all the moderators, Chris and Ebony and Jessica and Guru. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. Val, thank you so much for being a part of this community. Drasco, thank you. Appreciate you, brother. There was a lovely discussion. Come on and discuss any day. Absolutely. Think of more topics. This is a fine, lovely discussion. I might be doing this. This is a good way of doing this if people can't come on TikTok. So that's nice. Anything I'm forgetting? Evil Icon, and who else is one of my regulars here that I'm missing? I know I'm forgetting someone. Well, if I'm forgetting you, please know that the fact that you're part of this community for a long time is not going overlooked. I appreciate you guys very, very much. And it's amazing to watch this community grow. I love you all. Peace and love. See you tomorrow for the regular live, and see you in a moment for the members live. Peace and love. Ciao, everyone. Have a good night.